why it's interesting. Now, James Creedon is here for Media Watch now. He's with us in the studio. Hi there,
Laura.
James. Now, the man in the headlines is a news executive himself, Stephen Bannon. He's just been named as Donald Trump's counselor-in-chief. Basically, he has the ear of the president. A lot of people are very upset about this in the United States. Tell us a bit more.
Well, his name is Steve Bannon, and really I think he wasn't that well known outside of certain media circles in the US until he was catapulted into the role of CEO of Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And he came from a website called Breitbart, which he co-founded. You can see a photo of him here. And Breitbart now wants to expand into France and Germany, a little bit along the model, the lines of the Huffington Post, which started out as a kind of a left-wing US-based news website, and now it has franchises all over the world in many different languages. So Breitbart seems
it has a London arm currently. It has a Jerusalem arm, I believe. And
that's
a
right,
Texas arm.
France. Breitbart?
Breitbart, I'm talking
yes,
about, yeah.
so they want to continue to expand along those lines. You can see here, this is their homepage. Now, the thing is, it's defined, even self-defined, as alt-right. Alt for alternative. We'll get back to that in a little while, but it has been criticised essentially for peddling conspiracy theories and lies mixed in with fact to create this sort of potent mix that appeals to a lot of alternative kind of views of reality, politics, whatever you want. And
they weren't big fans of Hillary Clinton.
They certainly weren't.
Sure.
Now, just a couple of points of view on Steve Bannon's dream, or Steve Bannon himself. This is the Daily Beast, and Christopher Dickey refers to Breitbart News on this website as a pseudo-news service. He also points out that there has been quite a degree of discomfort amongst French media, in the French media, at the idea that it will be expanding into the French political sphere. This ahead of elections next May, where the far right has a chance, certainly, of getting into the second round of the presidential election. Now, how could you describe this figure of Steve Bannon? Glenn Beck, who is a Fox News commentator, not known for being the most, I suppose, what would you say, moderate in his views himself, he accused...
Big Tea Party man, wasn't he?
That's right. He himself accused Breitbart of acting, and Steve Bannon as acting as the Goebbels of Donald Trump's brown shirts. So you can see that even if Glenn Beck is saying that, it's a sign of just how sort of out there some of Steve Bannon's views are, and some of what he has peddled through Breitbart.
And the French traditional media has been comparing Breitbart to some of the far-right French news websites, right? Is that a fair comparison? Does that stack up?
I think it's probably in the same universe, but the site that was mentioned by l'Express.fr as being similar to Breitbart in the French media landscape is this one called F de Souche. Now, F de Souche it started out as a blog, and it's now become a lot slicker. And even in the design, you can see that there are similarities.
And it's pro-France National, is it? Or?
It absolutely is. And you can see actually a lot of the design maybe is even inspired by Breitbart. But it's worth pointing out that F de Souche refers to an expression in French called Français de Souche, which is actually quite a controversial expression. It means basically white native French.
It means French roots, doesn't it?
French roots, but it really kind of has connotations that you could even say are racist, and certainly you could argue that there are elements of white supremacy in the roots of this website. White supremacy comes through in a lot of the coverage of it that Breitbart.com has as well, but it would be more subtle in its treatment of issues of race and all of that. Now, there's a plethora of other sites that are popping up in France as well. Le Monde is talking about it here. Sites called Nordactu, Braise Info, Braise being Brittany in Breton, and they kind of are posturing or coming across or pretending to be official news websites, but they're actually propaganda for far right entities or politics, if you like.
Right, and as you say, that election just a few months away, so these are.
That's
right.
right.
Key times for these kind of websites. Yep.
Absolutely. Now, the New Yorker was referring to these alt-right websites as hailing Donald Trump's victory as some kind of god emperor in the aftermath of the election. And indeed, what's interesting to look at, and the New Yorker talks about this extensively, is they have really changed the range of public debate, the range of things that can be discussed. So the spectrum has changed now. It's not just people who have conservative points of view, people who have liberal points of view, maybe a bit of fringe.
It's blown open, hasn't it?
It's totally blown everything open, and what has been lost in the mix of all of that to a large extent, is the truth. Now, the New York Times refers to this in an article by Nicholas Kristof, lies in the guise of news in the Trump era.
Trump's been laying into the New York Times today, hasn't he?
Well, because they're very much positioning themselves against him in some respects. I'll just read the first two paragraphs here. If you get your news from this newspaper, the New York Times, or other rival mainstream news sources, there's probably a lot you don't know. You may not realise that our Kenyan-born Muslim president was plotting to serve a third term as our illegitimate president by allowing Hillary Clinton to win and then indicting her. So these conspiracy theories are sort of fed as
online,
fact through a lot of these
Just
news
quickly,
websites.
a lot of people have been blamed for the unexpected victory of Donald Trump in the United States. Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, just very quickly,
Facebook
social
creator.
media has a role in sharing this news, in creating in sharing fake news, and in creating echo chambers where people actually are being fed lies through social media, and social media maybe has a responsibility in correcting that, or at least providing alternative positions.
But it works on both sides of the political
It totally
divide,
does.
doesn't it? Everybody's doing that. All right, James, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks a lot.
James